form of captivating human freedom is to rip him of the ability to comprehend. In a country as diverse as India, not having a national language is nothing but robbing the ability of common man to understand the government policies and structure. Why is it so difficult for a common man of India to understand the court proceedings? Can we just blame education alone? Certainly not. In a country like India, where there are so many languages out there, people just do not understand what is going on when one language is being given there. What if we give them a national language? Official purposes are used in a national language. Students are taught in a national language. Obliging a South Indian civil servant to digest a complex argument put forward by a UP subordinate is certainly unfair to both of them. Fostering a sense of unity and integrity, nationalism, national language plays a very important role.
Time up. Against motion, your time starts now.
One of the hottest debated subjects since the beginning of the Indian Constitution, language issue. It is the era when we claim about language emancipation and the battle of belongings. In such a situation, we should address what is the real situation of languages that exist in India. According to Aisha Kodwari, a professor of JNU, who clearly mentions in how nationalism should work in India, she mentions that there is almost 1,675 probable languages in India, and among that, just 234 mother tongues, which belong to the 2001 census. In that, we had just categorized 22 languages as the scheduled languages in India, and there is an overemphasis on promoting these languages. And this has certainly caused a marginalization of the other languages. And another point that I like to highlight is promoting a national language will certainly result in Zionism, as we had seen in the case of Israel by the revival of Hebrew language and many other issues.
And time up. Now you have 5 minutes for the debate, and your time starts now.
When we talk about national language, one key point is that it improves the integrity of a nation. What proof do we have for this? According to a report by Ministry of Home Affairs, the national language is a key factor in improving the integrity of a nation. When an organization such as the Home Affairs puts forward a report like this, it's clear that we need a national language.
Out to you.
What integrity are we talking about when we talk about the reorganization of states based on linguistic lines? And then we are talking about integrity by marginalizing all the languages. The claim of 38 languages to be added in the schedule has still not been heard by the Constitution. And in such a situation, we are talking about integrity and marginalized languages.
Out to you.
During the COVID-19 time, according to a report by the Hindu, a patient who reached the Tamil Nadu hospital, he was incapable of communicating with the healthcare staff what his health problem was. And this led to a delay in the healthcare services. So when you're not able to speak in your own country, just because you're going for your studies or a job in a different state, you're not able to communicate with the person next to you in healthcare. And delayed healthcare is coming. It's actually a risk to life.
Over to you, please.
Since the 1968, we are trying to implement the three-language policy. And through the three-language policy, it is clearly mentioned that we are not able to penetrate to all areas of the society, or we are not able to integrate the language concept into all sections of the society, especially rural population. In such a situation, how are we able to implement the concept of national language and teach all the people of India a particular national language and making them capable of communicating in that language?
Out to you, please.
This process of implementing a national language is surely a slow one. It will not happen. Today we decide we need a national language. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Like anything that requires a big impact, this also need to be taken slow. We need to train the people. We need to have government implement this education system through the primary education itself.
Please.
When we see a study by J.J. Smolik about Philippines and the non-Filipino languages that exist in Philippines, it is clearly mentioned that the existing of a particular national language had not helped those languages in any way to come out of marginalization. And another point we need to look about is the Jonathan Poole study, in which he clearly mentioned that using a mathematical model, a multilingual model using unofficial languages and official languages has not helped the country in any way.
Clear.
According to a report by the World Bank, national language helps to improve the economy of a nation by 42%. When something is strong as this report comes, why not have a national language for our nation?
Clear.
The same World Economic Forum has mentioned that 40% of languages are endangered. And those endangered languages are always marginalized. When for people, a language which is to be called as the national language is as alien as the Hungarian parliament in 1870, how will they come up with a proper plan to implement this in the local level?
Please.
Having a national language would be a key in improving the administration of a country. Currently in India, what's happening is that we have everything related to administration coming out in a language. And what's the next process? Translating into different languages that people understand. But this requires a lot of money flow into translation services, translators, and all of that. When we have a national language, all of that money can be put into other verticals of the society.
Over to you, please.
In a country like India with weak internal cohesion, it is always possible that people will push for separating the country and splitting it into pieces. And another thing that we need to notice that when we are trying to implement a national language policy, it will result in hegemony and it will create a tension among the entire state and will result in massive problems like that happened in Sri Lanka.
Out to you.
According to the 2009 Santosh Kumar Bharat versus the state of Maharashtra case, confessions made in a language which the police does not understand makes these confessions inadmissible in the court. What about the language right of the accused? He's not even being able to convey his problem in front of the court.
Clear.
That is because a less emphasis is given to the native languages. If he is able to convey in his native language his thoughts, his ideologies and everything, there will not be a necessity of having a national language at a national level.
A non-Maharashtrian in the state of Maharashtra goes to the court and he is pleading for his case. And just because the police was not able to understand his pleadings, the entire case was inadmissible in front of the court. Another case of Mithali versus the state of Uttar Pradesh clearly shows that just because all the administrations in UP was done in Hindi alone, any other person from India cannot go into and fight for
Out
the
to you. Thank you,
administration.
Devika. Yeah.
Still, when we look about the Hindi belt, we can see a alienation of the languages, other languages like Rajasthani, Chhattisgarhi and other languages. When we speak about a national language, it is not always possible to emphasize on the Devanagari script, which our constitution has maintained as the official language of India. But when we talk about a national language and teaching people this national language, which natural language are we going to teach these people?
And your time up. Thank you so much, girls. Now we have 30 seconds each to answer the questions from a jury, and out to the judges, please.
Aleena,
Yes, sir.
you explained India as a diverse and plural country, right?
Yeah.
That means we are not a monolithic, nationalistic country. Then why should we need a national language?
India is definitely a country that is diverse, and unity in diversity is what we stand for. But what has not having a national language done to a country? Instead of promoting nationalism, many times we promote regionalism. We are proud Keralites, we are proud people from Tamil Nadu. Somewhere in there, when we fight for what we are proud of, the sense of nationalism is getting rid on the way.
You done? All right. Thank you so much. And over to you, Devika. It's your turn, and out to the judges, please.
Now, one of the issues you raised here was we have a 3-tier language policy and we were not able to implement it. So, because of that, because this was not feasible, a one language policy is not feasible. Which is difficult, learning 3 languages or learning 1 language?
Is the question clear enough to you?
So when we talk about a 3-language policy, we are talking about a native language, a global language, and the national language.
Right.
When we are talking about the national language, it's not always possible for people to understand the national language. And often English is a global language and it is alien to people and they are not able to comprehend it. But obviously there will be a push on the native language. They will be able to understand it more comprehensively and they will be able to express their feelings and emotions in that a better way. And still, according to Indian surveys, we can see that only 12% of people are bilingual. From that, it is clear that they are more comfortable with their
Time up.
native
Thank
language.
you so much. Both of you kindly come forward. A huge applause for both of them for making it to the semi-finals.